Welcome to the Alive Loren Podcast, and the place of celebrating juicy, soulful, whole, living, loving, adventuring, experiencing. And it has been a long while since I've done this. This is supposed to be the place of celebrating all of life, which means it's the celebrating also the not being okay, the being okay with not being okay, because just Mickey Singer's work is, for me, just there's so much stuff and information out there. I just find it's resonating for me as something really like simple and deeply tangible in terms of working on the inside, like the core, the actual root element. That anything that I think, there's no point to grasping on the outside for things I want to change in terms of work or relationship or where I'm staying, or because anything that I want to change on the outside is really only because I imagine it's going to create some sort of state change on the inside. So what I really want is a state change on the inside. And I'm grasping at all these things on the outside to create the inside state change. Whereas just deal with, why am I not okay on the inside to begin with? Because if I can make the inside okay, really okay, then it doesn't matter what's happening on the outside. How much better to have an inside okay? Oh, wow. It just makes so much sense. Like if you think about these trees that are really deep, strong rooted, that if you have a tree that does have really deep, strong roots, and it's flexible, and it has a certain malleability and bendability, then as the storms, no matter the weather, the tree remains standing. Whereas if you have, the thing is the rooted, grounded tree, if you had a tree that something's wrong with the root system, and it's not really well grounded, and it's just got a little bit of root on the surface, then you constantly have to change the environment and the weather and make sure that the wind doesn't blow at the speed, and to make sure that the rain doesn't fall beyond this capacity, because the tree is not sufficiently grounded, so it can't withstand any weather. And if it's more rigid and doesn't have an ability to bend and sway and move in the wind. So, knowing that I've just found myself in a place of feeling like I have nothing to share, or that I'm feeling so stuck and so uninspired, despite the fact that, thank God, I'm well and healthy and have so much to be grateful for, and I'm living a life where there's so many people that for them to swap to the reality of my life would be like the most ultimate, amazing, biggest lottery win ever. And yet noticing myself, judging myself for not being able to gear into this place of massive gratitude and presence. And then just realizing that I'm not, if I happen to be in a place of lack of inspiration, of feeling like I'm not as grateful and emanating and radiant with gratitude and appreciation, that I'm witnessing those states. It's not who I am. I'm the one witnessing them. I'm not them. So it's just been a bit of a challenging phase and time, and then just being okay. So just realizing it's actually okay to be not okay. It's okay to be with the not okayness. And noticing like I have been tremendously grasping at stuff on the outside to want to try get some sort of fix and stability and change on the inside, but feeling like I can't take in so much information. God, there was one of these like apps with these book summaries, and there's me trying to think, okay, like I'm desperately like grabbing at all these things on the outside. So on that note, I saw like a reset, like a 3-day water cleanse, which I did do one recently. I did actually a 5-day, which is more about going inside. And a reaffirmation of change on the inside without needing something on the outside. Because when you do a water cleanse, it's stopping to take external things. So it was more just with that strong intentionality. So I'm thinking that maybe this is more in a community, in a group. I may step into that space again this week. But what really transitioned for me was then I feel very grateful to be part of a group that does meet on a Sunday for an hour and a half, and we share around. We choose elements of, now we've moved on to living untethered, and we choose a certain number of chapters and then share and integrate together and talk about what we want to apply going forward. And yeah, just how much of things that people shared resonated so strongly about taking the study more seriously, actually making a commitment, and then finding myself needing to get into stuff beyond words, like more body stuff, like feeling like I really need to make a commitment to move, be it in yoga, be it in dance, be it in laugh therapy, I did on Friday, I set my alarm for every 30 minutes and did 30 seconds of just out loud laughing. Just crazy laughing. So I think that is a good prescription to continue with today, or just going forward in general. But the importance of joy, and just so much beautiful sharing on our call today of being okay with not being okay, and being okay with the paradoxes and the dualities, where sometimes we can receive support and love that only came out of loss and grief. And if we hadn't been through that loss, we wouldn't have seen these other faces of unconditional love and support and tenderness. But yet we can hold space for both, having gratitude for the love and support, but still a heaviness in the heart for the grief. And the theme of what I found so reassuring in these first 5 chapters of Mickey is just this acknowledgement of how distracting our thoughts, our world outside, our emotions, it's very intense. It's like this 3-ring circus. So it's very difficult to stand some chance of really remaining centered and undistracted. And what I love with this book is Mickey's going into each of those 3 worlds, of the physical world, our physical bodies, the physical world, then the world of thoughts and the world of emotions, saying that it's not a forceful practice, this distractive quality that they have. It's not about stopping them. They're always going to be there. It was so interesting because my son was sharing about different teachers at school and how there was one teacher who was very kind of like idealistic, and maybe, I don't know, he's in the early days of his teaching, and came in all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, assuming, all the kids would be at a certain level of wanting to participate and be committed and all the things he wanted to do, and then finding some of the kids quite distracting and not as committed and not on that same page. And then another teacher who maybe is more advanced in his years of teaching and doesn't allow, like if the kids aren't, if they're taking stuff less seriously or they aren't as committed, it's still he remains true to his sort of North Star and isn't distracted. He's not pulled in, so he just kind of fobs it off, just like water off a duck's back, kind of. So, but it's not from a place of disconnection. It's such an interesting blend, because it's about feeling things deeply and honestly, but yet intensely in the moment, without getting distracted to then miss out on life itself. So it's quite the dance, and to allow for the phase, the learning, and to allow for the process. And wow, this is actually amazing. I think this is a pomelo tree. This is incredible. I've just seen this for the first time in this garden. Wow, how amazing. So, yes, I decided then to start again and share, because it's okay to share even when I'm not okay. Not only to share when I'm as if there's only a quality of sharing when it meets a certain criteria. So it's good to be back, and wishing here is to being okay with not being okay, and being okay with the learning process, being okay with the difficulties, with how distracting things are, and getting lost, being okay with being lost. So, happy adventuring, precious heart. Mwah.